There is a moment, on the entry to almost every corner Lewis Hamilton drives, where the back of his car starts to slide. The rear steps out. The car begins to rotate. To most people watching, and to most drivers feeling it, that is the terrifying split second before a spin. To Hamilton, it is exactly where he wants to be. He does not avoid that knife edge of oversteer. He lives on it. He hunts for it, corner after corner, lap after lap, deliberately driving a Formula One car in a state of controlled instability that would put most professionals into the barriers. And understanding why he does this, and how is the key to understanding what actually makes Lewis Hamilton special. So let us explain it properly, what oversteer really is, why Hamilton chases it instead of fearing it, and why this single technique is both the greatest weapon of his career and the hardest thing in motorsport to truly master. First, the basics, because everything depends on getting this right. A Formula One car has grip at the front tires and grip at the rear tires, and the balance between them defines how the car behaves in a corner. When the front tires run out of grip first, the car refuses to turn, it pushes wide, the nose washing out toward the outside of the corner. That is understeer. The car is understeering away from where you are pointing it. Oversteer is the opposite. The rear tires lose grip first. The back of the car steps out, swinging around, trying to overtake the front. Push it too far and the car spins completely. It is, by its nature, the more dangerous of the two. Because while understeer just makes you slow, oversteer can end your lap against a wall in an instant. So given that oversteer is the riskier behavior, why on earth would the most successful driver in history deliberately seek it out? The answer is one word: rotation. Here is what oversteer actually gives a driver who can control it. When the rear of the car steps out on corner entry, the car rotates, it pivots toward the apex, pointing itself into the corner far earlier than a stable understeering car ever could. And the earlier you get the car rotated and pointed at the exit, the earlier you can get back on the throttle and fire down the next straight. In a sport decided by thousandths of a second, getting on the power even a fraction earlier, at every single corner, adds up to an enormous advantage over a race distance. A driver who plays it safe, who keeps the car stable and understeering slightly, sacrifices that rotation. The car turns lazily, takes longer to point at the exit, and the driver has to wait for the car to finish turning before they dare touch the throttle. Multiply that hesitation across 20 corners a lap, 50 laps a race, and you have lost the race to the driver who was brave enough to use the rotation that oversteer provides. So Hamilton's willingness to drive on the edge of oversteer is not recklessness. It is the pursuit of lap time at its purest. He is trading safety margin for rotation, and rotation for speed. But to make that trade work, you need something almost nobody possesses to his degree: the ability to catch the slide, every single time. Because here is the brutal part. Provoking the rear to step out is the easy bit. Any driver can make a car oversteer. The genius is in what happens next in the microsecond of car control, required to catch that slide at the exact right moment, hold the car in the rotation without letting it tip over into a spin, and then carry that perfectly angled car through the apex and out the other side. That is the skill. And it operates faster than conscious thought. How does Hamilton actually do it? He does it through an integrated set of inputs working together, far beyond just turning the wheel. He brakes late and deep, which shifts the car's weight forward and deliberately lightens the rear, encouraging it to rotate. He uses tiny, lightning-fast corrections of the steering to catch the slide as it begins. And critically, he plays with the brake balance and engine braking to fine-tune exactly how much the rear steps out. By shifting more braking toward the rear axle, he can make the car rotate more on entry, on demand, corner by corner. It is not one technique. It is a whole orchestra of inputs, all coordinated to keep the car balanced on the very edge of losing grip and to hold it there. And this is a feel he has had since he was a child. Hamilton's style traces directly back to his karting years, and beyond that to the great British driver Jim Clark drivers who learned to rotate a vehicle using the throttle and the slide rather than just the steering wheel. Hamilton absorbed this so early, so deeply, that catching a sliding rear is not something he calculates. It is wired into his instincts at a level below conscious decision-making. His hands react before his brain has finished registering the movement. Now, there is an important and fascinating nuance here that separates the people who truly understand Hamilton from those who just repeat clicks. If you asked Hamilton directly, he would tell you he actually prefers a car with a slight tendency to understeer. That sounds like a contradiction, but it is the key to everything. Here is the resolution. Hamilton does not want a car that is constantly, nervously oversteering everywhere that would be exhausting and unpredictable. What he wants is a stable base that he can then provoke into oversteer on his own terms. When he chooses, on corner entry, the slight understeer is his safety net. His aggressive entry technique is what overrides it to create the rotation. He builds in a margin of stability and then uses his skill to attack past it exactly when he needs the car to rotate. He is not a passenger to an unstable car. He is the one deciding, moment by moment, when to summon the slide and when to settle the car down. This is why his engineers have described the phenomenon so precisely. It is the way Hamilton wants to attack a corner, and when he does that, the car snaps to oversteer. The oversteer is a product of his aggression, not a setting he dials in. He creates it with his hands and feet, and then he controls it. That is the whole art. And there is a hidden cost to this technique that reveals just how fine the margins are. When you slide a tire, even in a perfectly controlled way, you generate heat in it. And heat is the enemy of a Formula One tire. Too much, and the tire overheats, the grip falls away, and your lap times collapse. So Hamilton is not just balancing the car on the edge of a spin. He is simultaneously managing the temperature he is putting into his tires through every controlled slide, reading their condition lap by lap, knowing exactly how much rotation he can afford before he starts cooking the rubber. He is solving two problems at once, at 300 kilometers an hour, on instinct. The car control and the tire management are not separate skills. For Hamilton, they are the same skill. This is what makes driving on the edge of oversteer so rare at the very highest level. It is not enough to be brave. Plenty of drivers are brave. It is not enough to have fast hands. Many drivers do. You need the bravery to provoke the slide, the reflexes to catch it, the feel to hold the car exactly on the limit, and the discipline to do all of that while preserving your tires for an entire race distance. The number of human beings who have ever combined all of those things at once, consistently, you could count on your fingers. And it is worth being honest about the flip side, because it tells you how real this technique is. This same instinct, the deep, aggressive entry that provokes the rear, does not suit every car ever built. There have been generations of Formula One cars that punished it, that demanded smoothness and stability, and refused to reward a driver throwing them into a slide. On those cars, Hamilton's natural edge of oversteer style worked against him, overheating his tires and costing him time. The fact that his greatest strength can become a weakness in the wrong machinery is the clearest proof of all that it is a genuine, specific, deeply ingrained technique, not just a vague label we slap on a fast driver. But give Hamilton a car that responds to it, a car that rewards rotation, that lets him attack the entry and dance the rear on the edge of grip, and you see the technique in its purest, most beautiful form. The car pointing at the apex impossibly early. The throttle coming in sooner than seems possible, the lap time appearing from nowhere, and the driver making it all look so smooth, so calm, so effortless, that you would never guess the car beneath him was permanently teetering on the knife edge of a spin. That is the paradox at the heart of Lewis Hamilton's driving. The calmer he looks, the closer to the edge he actually is. The smoothness you see is not the absence of drama. It is the mastery of it, 1,000 tiny corrections happening too fast to see, all holding a wild, sliding, rotating racing car in a window so narrow that almost nobody else on Earth could find it, let alone live there for an entire afternoon. So the next time you watch Lewis Hamilton turn into a corner and see the back of the car move, do not hold your breath waiting for the spin. Understand that you are watching exactly what he intended. You are watching a driver who decided, a long time ago, that the safest place to be slow was never going to be good enough, and that real speed lived out on the edge, in the one place most drivers are too afraid to go.